If you had not listened to that aha moment at O'Hare, where do you think your life would be?
There are so many of those whys in the road. You know, when you come to a fork in the road, take it, as Yogi Berra is quoted as saying. Uh, I, there's no way to guess.
Yeah.
I, I will tell you this: over the years, I have become very guided. I'm less a doer and more aware that I'm being done. And you can plug religious language into that if you want. I'm not particularly religious and I can't quote scripture, but I do a lot of study and reading, countless hours of what is this human condition and how does it fit in the cosmos and why are we here taking up space and what's our contribution, and that's I wallow in that a lot, and it informs where I am now in my coaching. uh, so what would happen? Who knows? But it would have been a different life. I'm very grateful for the decisions I've made, and even including the ones that were stinky. You know, I didn't make all right decisions. I didn't make all the
Right.
right choices, but I learned from every one of them. And what
Yeah.
I've really gotten is a given moment may not be fun, but when you turn around and look at it from the future, you realize, oh, that's why that happened. Wow. Thank you. And so my daily comment now is, "Ooh, look, life continues to unfold in my favor." Well, I'm gonna tell one more of our stories. I kept coming in coaching calls. I said, "Candace, are there any combinations of talents that mean something?" And she'd go away and next week or two we talk about Candace or any combination. And one day she came to call, and while I do all my calls on the phone, no visual, no Zoom or whatever. By the way, I had a client one year when Zoom started coming out. I said, and I was talking about that. He said, "No, keep it on the phone." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "There's the anonymity of the confessional booth." Without
Right.
looking at each other. I said, got it. And so all my calls, international, whatever, on the phone. So
Mm.
she came to call one day, but I could see her grinning. She said, I got it. I don't know what's that. It's not combination of talents. It's the combination of quadrants. I said, say some
Yeah.
more. And she laid out the three or four that she had done to begin with or whatever. I said, brilliant, just brilliant. Again, that was in her. My thing was, are there any combinations? Are there any combinations? I didn't even know what I was asking. Well, I knew what I was asking, but I was asking in the place that she said, no, that's not the answer. The answer is over here. She had the aha. I'm in the aha business. That's what I evoke. So
Yeah.
that's my other core
I
clarity
love it.
story. So I started using it with clients. Once she gave me the online capability, so that I could enter that information and get a set. And the way I do it, and it's in fact it's a client filter for me. When somebody calls and we talk and we think we're kind of in sync, I say, well, here's what I want you go. There's this assessment, and I give them very little guidance on it, and that's part of it to see if they'll actually go do it, and then send me the result from Gallup. I say, I'm going to run that through some software I've got from somebody else, and I'm going to send you three simple little color charts back. And then let's schedule a time and we'll discuss and decode that information. So that gives them homework to do and find out are they coachable? Are they actually going to do something? And if they do, and they get it back to me, and then I'll send them the charts through Core Clarity. I'll go ahead and send them to them. Say, okay, let's set a time. I set aside an hour. I said, won't take that, but set aside an hour. And they call to review their strengths. Of course, what we're discovering is who is this person? And is this somebody I want to coach? Is this somebody that I can coach? Is the mission they're on big enough to interest me? I work with people who cause things to happen. My clients, they don't need me. Their lives work just fine long before I was in them and will afterwards. They Nobody hires me because they need me. I'm hired by people whose lives are working well and they want it to get better. That's a that's an interesting marketplace if you think about it. These are successful people. I mean, running successful lives, not just money. They're they work. It works. Their lives work, and I get to help them enhance that. So I'm I'm interviewing clients as much prospects as much as they're interviewing me to see is this going to be a good fit. And so we review their talents, and the way I do it, I have them read the text. So your number one talent is that, right? Okay. This sounds a little weird, but read out loud to me the first 4 bullet points there. There are 5 bullet points. Right off, I found out if somebody reads all 5 of them, they didn't listen. So I said, read the first 4. Right off, I find out some people don't know some of the words that are there and how they handle not knowing them. And I mean, they reveal themselves just reading those. And then I'll say, okay, I said, as you read that, and it's better to speak it out loud. It really goes in well as opposed to just reading. I said, as you said that about that, does that sound like anybody on this phone call? And 99% of the time they're like, well, it's me. Yeah, okay, great. Well, that 5th bullet, by the way, this is a cautionary tale. And what's that? Any strength, this is a Steveism, any talent overdone can become a hindrance. So just because you're good at something doesn't mean you need to do that something all the time. So this is what you need to watch having this talent. You need to, oh, that makes sense. Which what that does, it already has them thinking, wow, I need this guy's helping me see this is true, but how can I optimize it? And then
Yeah.
have them do their second and third, all through the talents. And when we wrap it up, in all these years and the hundreds of people that I've done it with, and I do it with lots of folks who never hire me, by the way. I'm happy, and I don't ever charge for it because I learned something from every one of them. I have a great time doing that strengths review with people. It's just fun. It's people, it's humans, and they're
Yeah.
making things happen. And so we wrap that up. And after that call, we pretty much know how we're going to work together. And then we start designing what they need and what are some checkpoints and how you're going to pay for it and blah, 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 that stuff. And pretty well make an assumption they're going to hang around for a while. I'm not looking for somebody who's coming in trying to set a bone, get it fixed, and go, okay, my life's still a wreck, but the bone's okay. And they disappear. That's not who I want. I want people who really want to have their life unfold. And that takes a while. It takes a while. So I tell them, look, here's what just happened. Without you doing that assessment, we would have spent the first 6 to 9 months, at least part of the calls, discovering what you discovered in one 20-minute online assessment, not test, and an hour call with me. They're going, yeah. So I didn't know that for years and years in coaching, but I had to figure that stuff out so we knew what tools we had to work with. And that 6 to 9 months collapsed into you taking the assessment and us spending an hour together. We know what tools are in your toolbox coming right out of the chute. So we can, and then we start talking about what they want to have happen and how they're getting in their way by this talent or they're not taking advantage of this talent. And so it gives us some immediate traction and framework for them to say, I can do this, which is that's a hiring energy if you think about
Right.
it. Once they get it, this can help, then this guy can help, and they don't give credit to the strength finder at that point. I got to tell you, it's me they're looking at and thinking I'm the one that's going to do it. And of course, all I'm doing is pulling their stuff out of them, and we're running with it. So that's that story.